If you don't know how to sell, you will always be working for someone who does. Sales is the number one skill that has completely changed my life. It's made me the bulk of my money. It's gave me a lot of freedom and completely changed how I operate as a man. And the crazy part, you can learn it without college, no degrees, no connections, or even any cash. I'm going to show you how. So first we start with, what is sales? It's simply communication with purpose. It's an organized communication with a goal to move someone forward, to make a decision, to show how our services or products can help them. All right, so sales is not manipulation. It's simply communication with purpose. It's the ability to move people to action, right? There's a difference between the two words convince and persuade. When you convince someone to do something, you're simply getting them to believe your idea. Whereas persuading them gets them to take action after you've convinced them of your idea. So they're two very different things. Why is sales? Every job, every business, every relationship involves it, even if you don't directly call it sales. I'll tell you how. If, let's say, you have a girlfriend and she's mad at you for something, who knows? Maybe you're not giving her enough attention. Understanding communication with purpose will help you ease her up, right? So if she's like, you never give me attention, you never do this, you never do that, you're always working, you're doing this, you're doing that, whatever she's talking about. If I don't know sales, if I don't know how to communicate with purpose, I'm going to sit there and I'm probably going to argue back with her, probably going to waste time, probably going to waste energy, get her more mad, get her more emotional, and just not solve anything. But because I can communicate with purpose, I can simply match her tone, match her energy, talk to her a bit lower, and just help her understand that it's really not that big a deal. And I'm simply busy, and I can make it a positive thing and turn it into why she should like me more for it. I'm working so hard for you, baby. I want to do this for you. You're the reason I'm working so hard, right? And then obviously there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's a good example of communication with purpose, right? Whereas every other man is just going to sit there, argue with her, get tongue-tied, and not know how to deal with the situation, and then just be stuck. Sales is the ultimate life skill. If you can sell, you will never, ever be broke again. For the past year, I've been able to pay all my bills simply by knocking doors and knowing sales and being able to always bring money in, day out. I can work when I want, I cannot work when I want. But because I know sales, I know that no matter what kind of bill comes up, if I just sell for long enough, I will be able to pay that bill. So you will never be broke again. You would always be able to eat. You would always be able to have money coming in. You would always be able to pay your bills. You won't be broke ever again. It also teaches confidence, emotional control, communication, resilience, relentlessness, right? The reason it creates those things within yourself is because it's not the easiest thing to do. It does take a different kind of person to actually succeed in sales. Most people, they can't handle the rejection. They take it too personally. To me, they're kind of gay. But it's just not for everyone. And so if you can deal with the rejection constantly, day in, day out, it will teach you confidence because you're constantly overcoming rejection and dealing with it. It just becomes part of life. It teaches you emotional control because you have to stay focused and disciplined emotionally and not get frustrated and upset that you're not closing deals. It teaches communication because you're talking all day, every day. So of course you're going to be better at talking. And it also teaches you resilience because if you can do sales for like even just half a year or a year, you're going to be way more resilient than ever before starting sales because you're just constantly fighting through rejection, doubt, uncertainty, constantly. And so it's going to turn you into a different kind of person where you're just completely resilient and you're just ready to go all the time, regardless of anything that's slowing you down because you're so used to doing it all the fucking time, every day. Sales also creates leaders. You learn to influence people. You're not just talking, you are influencing them. If you were just talking, any dickhead can go and just say, hey, we're cleaning windows, and give a bunch of quotes and maybe get a deal or two on the day. Any dickhead can do that. When You learn sales, you learn influence. And so you can go tell those same people the exact same pitch, and because you know how to communicate with purpose and you understand how to influence this person into a decision, you're gonna actually close the deal, right? And so it effectively turns you into a leader, because you're taking people from being hesitant on an idea, or even sometimes completely opposed to an idea, and you're influencing them into doing it. And that's exactly what leaders do, right? The leaders of armies, the leaders of men, the leaders of groups, of conventions, whatever. If you're a leader of something, you're influencing X amount of people that are looking at you, right? And so this effectively creates leaders as well. And the best part about this, you don't need any credentials whatsoever. Like I said earlier, no degree, no cash, no nothing. All you have to do is just try and not quit. Just put in some effort and practice and do it day in and day out until you're really good at this shit. It's not that hard. Before I learned sales, I was on an entrepreneurial journey that wasn't necessarily successful. I made a bit of money here and there. I tried a couple different things. I used to work construction for 6 months. I used to work with my uncle and do home improvement for about a year and a half. I also cleaned and managed Airbnbs. I used to do handyman work. I used to do paint jobs. I used to cut people's grass, do power washing jobs. I used to do paint work. I used to do any kind of home improvement work I could come across. I used to do trim work. I used to do all kinds of shit. I used to make websites for people online, made money doing that. I was trying to be a fitness coach for some time. All these different things and a bunch of stuff I'm not even remembering. All these different things never really worked, simply because I did not know sales. I did not know sales. I didn't know how to take someone from no to yes. I didn't understand that them saying no or being hesitant was simply uncertainty. And all I had to do was build their certainty up with words. I didn't understand these things. And so my business constantly suffered because I could not bring money in. I could not sell. Now that I can sell, I can go door to door, I can be on the phone, I can be in a virtual call, I can be in person, no matter what kind of environment it is, because I can sell. I can always bring money in regardless of what business I'm doing. Regardless of the business I'm doing. I remember the first time I knocked doors. I guess you can call it beginner's luck, but I knocked 16 doors, and on the 16th door, I got my first deal for $160. And that was completely life-changing for me, because I had just spent my last $100 on a squeegee and scrubber, hoping that I would be able to make a deal. And within 2-3 hours of me buying that squeegee and scrubber, I was able to already flip that into $60 profit, because I started learning how to sell. When I sold my first $1,000 day, it was after practice, it was after repetition, it was after never quitting, it was after showing up day in, day out. I made my first $1,000 because I put in the work to learn sales. I learned how to influence. I learned communication with purpose. I'm still working on it to this day. So it was an absolute emotional roller coaster from 18 to now, 4 years. I never went to college. I had a massive war with my parents and my family about not going to college. And there was a lot of doubts, a lot of uncertainty. I was broke for most of those 4 years. I had negative accounts. I had credit cards closed, debit cards closed. I literally couldn't even open a fucking debit card with Bank of America because my debit card history was bad. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's how broke I was, right? But all these things did was build my resilience. It built my character. And so when I got into sales, I learned it fairly quickly. Obviously, I put in a lot of work, but also I had those 4 years of just building my character personally to work well in an environment like this. So that's how sales changed my life. And this is why door-to-door specifically is the absolute best training ground you could ever have when you're getting into sales. It's real-world training. There's no fluff in between. I mean, you either learn fast or you die, right? It's teaching rejection management. It's teaching resilience better than anything else.